Enzo Maresca's start as the Chelsea manager has been somewhat rocky. A 2-2 draw versus Wrexham and a 4-1 defeat versus Celtic have left fans thinking, is he the right man for the job? There are a lot of positives to take away from the two games that have already been played so far in the pre-season. Here is how you can successfully replicate and recreate Enzo Maresca's Chelsea tactics into FC24. Maresca's side have set up in a 3-4-3 when attacking and looking to try and exploit and expand their natural positions, looking to try and open up gaps and spaces between the lines for the strikers, the cams, and of course the wingers to go ahead and try and exploit. That back three system has been key and pivotal in helping them build out from the back. They tend to build up in a 3-2 shape, and of course, when on the defensive end of things, and the opposition is looking to attack them, they will look to revert into a 4-2-3-1 system and shape. Now, this will more or less be the role of Reece James inverting into the midfield, helping again with that first phase build-up play. But when under the cosh, Chelsea will look to revert back into a full-back system, making sure that they are covering their bases at all angles. The tactical approach of Enzo Maresca and this Chelsea side does align with the wing play tactical vision. Now, quite often versus Celtic and even versus Wrexham, they would rely on the wider midfielders looking to try and stretch the game on a horizontal plane. And what this does is it opens up a lot more central space for the two DMs, the two attacking midfielders, and of course the striker to have a lot more space to rotate into and function and try and establish and generate that offensive rhythm that we're talking about. Now, in terms of the defense and the defensive style, I have set this to pressure on heavy touch, and this will be applied to both the 3-4-3 system as well as the 4-2-3-1 system. But I would suspect that once more of the first team players come into play, and once Enzo Maresca has established his style of play and the confidence does grow, we may see a more aggressive, effective pressing style, and that would probably shift to a press after possession loss approach. It's very much aligning itself with what Manchester City and Pep Guardiola do on a regular basis. But for the time being, what I noted was that there would be more focus on trying to get into their shape, and the front three, and that is the two cams and of course the striker, would look to press and probe, and if a mistake was created or made, they would latch onto that and try and generate an offensive opportunity. And more so, the striker of Guiu, or however you want to pronounce his name, was very effective at that counter-pressing system. So I do think that he would fit this Maresca system very, very well. As for the team's width, it isn't really a super condensed structure, but it is a decently condensed midfield structure that you will be looking to try and disturb and disrupt the opposition's offensive rhythm with, and it does kind of generate a man-v-man system. The depth of the side will be set to 65, and that is more or less what this preseason has been all about, implementing a solid mid-block, having the centre-backs in those slightly advanced areas at times, and I do think that as the confidence grows, as the players become more assured of their positions and their roles and their instructions, you will see that line be pushed higher up the field, and that will also help unlock the opposition's backline. Let's not forget that what we have seen so far in the preseason is the two centre-backs of Colwell as well as Badashile have been very, very important in having that first phase build-up play be established, whilst also playing those line-breaking passes either into the midfield or alternatively into the forward line. Enzo Maresca's offensive system is all about fluidity, having players shift into open spaces, having players rotate into various different positions, and we will see that with Reece James being deployed as a right back but shifting into the midfield, very similar to what Pereira did last season for Leicester City. But his system, the offensive system at least, is also all about possession, looking to try and maintain and retain the ball as best as possible. So in order to successfully go ahead and replicate that, the build-up play should be set to slow build-up with the chance creation being set to possession. This will always offer the ball carrier multiple passing options when building up from the back, whilst also when building their attacks in that final third area. Now, essentially, when they do build out from the back, you will see a 3-2 system and shape generate, having the likes of a Reece James as well as a Romeo Lavia be that first phase, or be very important in that first phase build-up play, being the deep-lying playmakers, dropping into the space, showing for the ball, and helping establish that offensive platform for the rest of the side to go ahead and build up off of. As for the team's width, it will be set to 75. You don't really want to stretch the game too much, as that tends to lead to a lot of discourse and not many passing options being available in those central areas if you do try and stretch it too much. So that's why I've gone with 75 for the team's width, and of course the players in the box should be set to 5, having around 2 to 3 players in and around that attacking area. As Maresca doesn't want to overload the box too much, he does want passing options in and around the edge of the area, and that can either lead to retain possession, maintain possession, or alternatively creating other opportunities from the edge of the box. And then of course, as always, the corners and the free kicks should be set to 4. So if we take a look at the individual player roles and instructions, we'll start off at the front with the striker in Guiu. I think that is how you pronounce his name. Anyways, the support runs will be set to maintaining a balance width, as we do see the striker tend to operate in those central areas and then occasionally run the wider channels, looking to chase down those potential longer balls that have been fired in over the top from one of the centre backs, and you do tend to see him have a decent hold of play. So the attacking runs will be set to false 9. Now essentially I have trialed this on mixed, and you don't really get the same results. You want him to be able to drop deep, you want him to be able to link up with the other midfielders, whether that's the defensive midfielders or alternatively the attacking midfielders. Having him drop into that space, vacating the natural striker role, will have the likes of Nkunku drifting into that attacking space himself and being a very good figure point in the offense. Now essentially we will talk about Nkunku soon enough, but Guiu is very good at aggressively pressing, counter pressing, making sure he is occupying passing angles and passing lanes, and that is something that you want him to be able to do on a consistent basis. So the interceptions should be set to aggressive, and then finally you want his defensive supports to be set to basic. Often he does tend to stay up the field and be an outlet, but other times you do tend to see him also dropping quite deep and interchanging very effectively with the likes of Christopher Nkunku, who will be set to maintaining the stay forward approach for the defensive support. You do tend to see a 4-4-2 system generate and formulate when Chelsea are playing and they are looking to, counter press or press after possession loss. So you do want at least one of your attacking midfielders to stay forward and more or less formulate that front two system. The support on crosses will be set to maintaining a balanced crossing run, sometimes getting into the box himself, being available for those potential crosses or cutback opportunities, other times proving to be a fantastic playmaker, I guess, on the edge of the area, looking to facilitate other offensive opportunities. The positioning freedom will be set to free roam, as Nkunku does have the license and the freedom to drift all over the place and make sure that the offense is working in full effect. As for the interceptions, it will be set to normal. Whereas the likes of Carney Chukwuemeka will be set to come back on defense, and you do tend to see him drop quite deep at times and help the likes of Reece James and Lavia in those central midfield areas. The support on crosses, just like with Nkunku, will be set to maintaining a balanced crossing run, looking to operate in those half spaces, attacking the box, attacking just on the edge of the area, looking to try and facilitate good offensive opportunities. The positioning freedom will be set to stick to position, and this will have him in that right half space, combining frequently with Madueke, looking to try and generate offense from that wider right space. And then finally, just like with Nkunku as well, the interceptions will be set to normal. The role of your two wide midfielders, or your wider playmakers, I should say, they will be tasked with looking to try and generate a lot of the offense down the left and the right channel. So they'll both be set to come back on defense, as you aren't really playing with wing backs or full backs. Of course, Colwell and James are essentially those two positions, but you do want and require your two wider midfielders to come back and help back on defense as much as possible. So comeback on defense will be required, as well as maintaining a balance width along with a support runs set to balanced. This will help them drift in and out of those wider channels while still maintaining the natural width of the side. And you do tend to see either a Mudryk or a Madueke drift inside on the odd occasion, looking to combine with a central midfielder every now and then. The support runs I have set to maintaining a balanced width, as they aren't always looking just to get in behind and penetrate. They can show for the ball at a deeper rate. They can look to get the ball into their feet and then drive at the opposition, looking to try and link up the play higher up the field. So that is why a balanced support run best suits this side. As for the interceptions, it will be set to aggressive, and then for both of them as well, they will be set to maintaining a balanced crossing run. As you'll see here for Mudryk, he's got the same role and instructions as well. Now, players like Lavia as well as Reece James are very, very important to the side. They establish that platform for the other attacking players to build up off of, and they will be very important in that first phase build-up play. Like I mentioned earlier, they will drop into those deeper pockets, show for the ball, be passing options in those deeper areas, and then look to establish that play further forward. So both will be set to maintaining this good zonal defensive behavior, looking to cut pass lanes, intercept the play, disturb the offensive rhythm from the opposition. As you'll see here for Lavia, he's got the same instructions. And both of them will be set to stay back while attacking. Now, essentially, what I envisage Enzo Maresca doing is this Lavia position will be the role of Enzo Fernandez. We have heard whispers and rumors that Enzo Fernandez will be the deep-lying playmaker that does look to try and run the offense in that slightly deeper area, but he will have the opportunity on the odd occasion to get forward. And even though we have set the attacking support to stay back, you do see either a Reece James or a Lavia breaking forward or intercepting the play and then getting into those more attacking advanced zones So even though it is set to this, we will see them operate slightly higher up the field every now and then. And that does come into play with the defensive depth and the defensive line being set to 65. As for the interceptions, it will be set to normal. And then the only change that we do see is Lavia will be set to cover the center, whereas Reece James will be set to cover the wing. As you'll see here for Reece James, he'll be set to cover the wing. And you do tend to see him drifting into those wider right spaces, looking to pick up that fullback role himself, or alternatively just look to operate in that slightly wider area from time to time. And then of course, both of the players will be set to maintaining a deep line playmaker role. Like I said, very important in the first phase builder play, dropping deep, looking to support for the extra passing options, and establishing that good platform to build up off of. As for your centre backs, I have gone with Fofana, Badiashile, as well as Levi Colwill. Now, as you'll see, Colwill and Fofana have similar roles and instructions, overlap, and of course, step up. There was a time versus Celtic where I saw Fofana playing almost as a striker, looking to press the opposition. And I do think that Maresca wants his centre backs being very aggressive and imposing, whilst having the middle centre back look to try and cover the play and make sure that he is more or less in position at all times, making sure that the backline can't necessarily be caught out. And we did see that this is an area that they will have to work on, as Celtic cut them open multiple times with just a bit of miscommunication in the backline areas. So you do want the likes of Colwill as well as Fofana to overlap, show some support in those slightly wider areas of the field, getting forward on the odd occasion. Whereas, like I said, Badiashile, the centre back, doesn't really necessarily get forward, although he is going to be very important with his natural passing abilities, looking to launch those long balls further forward or even play the line breaking passes to try and help unlock the opposition's backline area. The centre backs will be very important in also playing out from the back, looking to play those short passes into the midfield or those slightly longer passes further forward. The goalkeeper in Robert Sanchez will be set to come for crosses, and I will say, I will give him his flowers here. He is very good at being able to claim those crosses when they are fired into the box, whether it's from a corner or just a natural cross. He is 6'6". He's naturally gifted and tall and aerially dominant, so you want him to have that. But a key requirement for an Enzo Maresca system is having a sweeper keeper, having a keeper that can sweep up just in behind his backline area, as well as being able to play out from the back under pressure. Now, of course, Sanchez doesn't really have those key characteristics at times. His kicking can be very sporadic, and that is why I think that Jorgensen could be a better fit and might be the natural starter, and Sanchez might be relegated to the bench. But for the time being, in a system like this, you do need a sweeper keeper as well as a come for crosses approach. Now, as mentioned earlier, Maresca is quite happy for his side to more or less revert into a 4-2-3-1 system and shape, having the likes of Reece James return to his natural position as that right back. So there will be a few system tweaks and a few instructional changes that do need to occur. And more so, they can operate very fluidly in both a 3-4-3 as well as a 4-2-3-1 system. As you'll see here for the tactics, there is no major changes, as you do want to still sustain that fluidity between the two systems, so you don't really need to change too much. As I often think that if you do make, several changes, it does necessarily mean that you are instilling a completely new and different system, and that is not something that Enzo Maresca would want to do. So if the width is 75 for this, it needs to be 75 for the other one, and so on and so on and so on. Now, of course, there will be several changes to the individual player roles and instructions, and as you'll see for the goalkeeper, he will maintain the same instructions, whereas the two centre-backs will be set to the base set of instructions. You don't want them being too aggressive. I mean, you could say for Fofana if you want to have him on step up, but more so because you are playing with a four-back system and two centre-backs essentially, you do kind of want him to more or less just maintain his natural instructional setup. As for the likes of Reece James, we do see him join the attack, but the run type will be set to maintaining a mixed attack. Now, this can help him invert into the midfield, or alternatively, play in that more natural role that he is so good at and overlap the right midfielder and get into those wider areas and supply crosses and cutback opportunities into the box from time to time, of course. And then finally, you want him to be able to step up and impose himself in those wider areas on the opposition wide players. As you'll see for the likes of Levi Colwill, he'll be set to stay back while attacking. You don't really want him getting too far forward, although in this position, he will on the odd occasion get forward if the opportunity and space is there, but you kind of want him more reserved in that defensive area of the field. And when he does get forward, just like with Reece James, he will be set to having a mixed attacking run pattern. For the role of Romeo Lavia, he'll be set to the same role and instructions as before. There's no major changes or requirements needed, whereas the likes of Carney Chukwuemeka, who will be now deployed as a right defensive midfielder, will be set to cut pass lanes. You still want the two defensive midfielders or the double pivot, maintaining that good zonal defensive behavior approach. But also, a key element to this is he will look to advance forward, advance into that attacking space, looking to vacate that area from time to time for the likes of a Reece James to operate in and almost play as a double pivot. The instructions will be set to normal and then finally stick to position and cover the wing. Further forward and into the role of the attacking midfielder, and that will be the likes of Christopher Nkunku, and he'll maintain the same role and instructions as before. Of course, more centrally and the only attacking midfielder in the system, but again, stay forward, free roam, and of course, normal interceptions. As for the two wider players, they'll be set to come back on defense, having a balanced width as well as a balanced support run, and then finally aggressive interceptions and balanced crossing runs. As you'll see here for Mudryk, he's got the same instructions as well. And then last but not least, the number 9 will also be set to the same instructions. You don't really need him doing too much. You more or less want him having the same role going forward. And there you go, people. That is how I would successfully go ahead and implement and replicate Enzo Maresca's preseason Chelsea tactics into FC24 with the current Chelsea side. Now, of course, preseason hasn't gone the way that most Chelsea fans would have wanted. But even in the 4-1 loss, I did see some good dynamic attacking patterns of play starting to occur. And with time, you would see more of that, hopefully. So yes, if you don't mind, smash that like button down below, subscribe if you are new, as well as join the Discord server. We have the link down below in the description. We are going to hop on into some gameplay where we will discuss these tactics in further detail. Okay, people, Man City versus Chelsea. Now, of course, Club America are not in FC24 because that is the game that they will be playing tonight as things are being recorded. On Wednesday, I don't know what the date is. The date is the 31st of July. So yes, they are playing Club America, and I do think that we will be seeing a very good game from Chelsea, and that you'll see a bit more of the tactics establishing themselves and the rhythms of the play and the automations. But Club America not in FC24. So we're stuck with playing Man City. Good run there from Wesley Fofana up the field, and he does get tackled. It does lead to an option here, a set piece situation. So yes, Man City, that is the next Chelsea preseason game. And that is something that, yeah, we're doing now. Oh, some great play from Connie Chukwuemeka. We square it to Gui. Oh my goodness me. Somehow, someway, Calvin Phillips gets in the way of a cutback opportunity. We're just going to cross it into Gui. And it's led to an Edison mistake. And it could have been 1-0 to the Chelsea. Up the Chelsea, you know. Anyways, we're gonna initiate a slight team press, although I will say the first 13 minutes or so of this game have been nothing short of splendid. And you will see that the front three do tend to aggressively press, and that is what you're trying to do. Invite the press, invite the pressure. Man City playing out from the back beautifully, working the ball into Haaland, back into O'Reilly, into Oscar Bob, who will look to penetrate and run down the right wing, our left space, and that has gone out for nothing as Oscar Bob has recovered the ball in that good area, although we've won the ball back thanks to Romeo Lavia. Good pass yet again. We are going to switch the play now into the marauding. Oh my goodness, it could have been fantastic. It could have been amazing. Now, I will also say this, guys. We are going to more or less play in this 3-4-3 system and shape, as that is what Maresca wants. But if we find ourselves under the cosh a little bit from Manchester City, we will deploy the fullback system, the 4-2-3-1, where we will look to try and nullify the wider areas with fullbacks. Great save from Robert Sanchez, 28 minutes in. So yes, we will look to deploy that system if needed and if required. But I just want to try and you know, play with this formation for the time being. And I do think that is something that Maresca would want from his side, looking to be very, you know, stubborn with the way that he needs his side to play. Versus Man City, versus, you know, Sheffield United. Anybody, he wants his side to play a particular way. And that is what essentially has gotten him the job. The style of play that he wants to employ. Deploy. Employ, deploy. Good pass there from Nkunku. Into Connie Chukwuemeka. We have gone for the skip pass, though. That is some line-breaking passing right there. Oh, somehow, Calvin Phillips, deployed as a centre-back, is the GOAT. And he doesn't know the right position for Calvin Phillips. Up until now, up until playing him in pre-season, oh, back post efforts. And it's off the post, and it's not even out of play. Okay, well, Man City, very scary. They flex their offensive might. But now it's our turn. Good ball in from Gu. And of course, the sweeper keeper in Edison is there to collect. Good ball. Great ball. Connie Chukwuemeka linking up very effectively with Madueke, who plays a great ball into Gu. And Gu goes for the near post blast. And unfortunately, just before half time, Edison makes a great save. Okay, we've got a opportunity here. We are going to go with a short corner kick. And of course, because Madueke is left-footed, we are just going to wrap our foot around it. Oh my goodness me, it's gone in off the goalkeeper on the post. And Fofana on the score sheet, possibly, maybe, depends on if they call this an own goal or not. But what a fantastic set-piece dead ball situation. Naturally, Madueke is left-footed, so cutting in on your left, crossing it in on the more dominant foot, it made the most sense. And just a fantastic acrobatic, don't do that with your knees the way that they have been over the last 2 years, but an acrobatic finish nonetheless. Going into the break, it will be 1-0 to Chelsea. So having a look at the stats at halftime, we have done very well in establishing our style of play. 58% possession in our favor. That's not too bad. 3 shots compared to City's 2 and an expected goals of 0.6 compared to a 1.2. So City, they did hit the post. They should have probably scored. Oscar Bob on another day puts the ball in the back of the net. We've had almost double the passes of City. That's fantastic. 9 tackles compared to just 5, and 6 of those tackles have been won. A pass accuracy of 90% compared to just 88. So we have been very active in trying to break up the offensive rhythm that City have been trying to deploy. And the shot accuracy is 67 compared to just 50, and a dribble success rate of 88%. I think it's fair to say that, yes, apart from the shot off the post from Manchester City, it has very much been Enzo Maresca's tactics that have out-dueled Pep Guardiola. Now onto the possession, and we haven't really done a lot down the left channel. Mudryk is just sitting there isolated thinking, what the hell do I have to do to try and get in this game? But as you'll see there, a lot of possession has been maintained in the deeper midfield areas. Reece James, the wider midfielders, and of course Romeo Lavia pulling the strings and looking to link the play very, very well. And then a lot of our attack has been stemmed down the wider right space, whether that's Connie Chukwuemeka combining with Nkunku as well as Madueke. It's all been down the wider right channel. Whereas Manchester City have had a lot of possession in their own box at times, in their own half, and 1 or 2 sporadic moments up the field looking to try and create attacking opportunities. Of course, the Oscar Bob chance was created from that wider left space. I don't know if it was Haaland or maybe even a Jack Grealish that did cross the ball in, but they were very good at doing so. And that is why you see that green area highlighted on the edge of our box. Just before the break, Fofana found the absolute golden shot opportunity and put the ball in the back of the net. Can we do that in the second half? Right now, though, I'm fully focused on trying to stop this kickoff goal glitch that I always experience in these games. It's actually goddamn annoying. But we've done so. We've done so with great effect, and we have been fouled by Kovacic on the edge of the box. Kovacic, a former Chelsea man, gets a yellow card. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. How things have changed. You absolute disgrace. I kid, obviously. Into Romeo Lavia, who is being pressed. They've brought on Kevin De Bruyne. So Pep, in that first half, was just playing games. In the second half, he's taken off O'Reilly, he's brought on KDB, and he said, you know what, we're about to lay down the goddamn law. But that's okay, because you can bring on everyone that you want. We've got some fantastic players of our own that are going to make the system work tenfold. Mudryk gets a touch with the ball, by the way, and he gets the return pass from Nkunku down this wider left space. Mudryk charging into the box, beats the defenders, and he rifles it into the gloves of Edison. Edison was probably thinking he's going left, he's going right, and it was his lucky day because he didn't choose any of those options. He went straight down the middle. Connie Chukwuemeka, he has found that ball was immaculate. If only it had gone to Gu instead of the defender. There we go. Good ball. Great ball. Gu return pass. Oh my goodness me. What an acute angled reverse pass that is. Into Nkunku, who fires it first time. And it's hit so well that Edison doesn't realize what's happened. And he's dived late and it's gone in the back of the net. That is an amazing bit of offensive opportunity. Of course, Phillips at fault. Phillips is at fault for the goal, but that's okay. That's fine. He's just rifled it. He's leathered it. Edison is not expecting Nkunku to take that shot on at the near post. Does so perfectly. And Pep is saying, I need to get rid of Calvin Phillips ASAP. You know, he actually played quite well in the first half, Calvin Phillips. He did his job. He did a fantastic job. There we go. There we go. Reece James collects the ball beautifully into Carney Chukwuemeka, who is operating as almost a right midfielder himself. But he is looking to try and motor now. He is being picked up. He is being tracked. And he tried to find the striker in the box. You cannot lose that header, Wesley. Fofana, man. Fofana's supposed to just be aggressive and win the aerial duels. Instead, he gets outdone and outbullied by goddamn Jacko Grealish. That's some brilliant play from Levi Colwell. Brilliant play from Levi Colwell. Good ball over the top into the wide vacant space. Mudryk is steaming ahead. Mudryk. Near post blast. Oh, it's off the cross. Oh, it was a save. It was saved onto the post and it's gone out for a corner kick. We are going to now deploy the defensive settings and the 4-2-3-1 as Doku has come on. So they are going to look to try and penetrate us from those wider spaces. So it does make sense to deploy a left and a right back in this moment in time to try and see out the final 10 minutes of this game. So the boys need to get into their shape and they need to get into their structure, and we will have a better defensive resolution. Nkunku, he has made that slightly wider run. We are looking to channel or attack, I should say, the likes of Calvin Phillips. Oh, he's in here. Oh! Nkunku setting up the striker so well. And I hope you guys noticed that Gu was running from a deeper position because he is being deployed as a false nine in the 4-2-3-1 structure, meaning that him and Nkunku will have this nice rotational play with who plays striker and who plays as the attacking midfielder or the centre forward, you could describe it as. Madueke sets to take it, and it's a great effort, it's a great header, and it is 3-0 to Chelsea versus Manchester City. I really should put Reece James on the set pieces. I forgot to actually do that when setting up the tactics and all that good stuff. But who am I to complain, because these tactics are absolutely laying down the gauntlets versus Manchester City. Just playing around with them. Just playing around with them. Good pass. Great pass. Good ball into Mark Yu. Mark Yu controls it beautifully, and it is now 4-0. That play, by the way, that whole interchange, sorry, I was really focused on that. That change was splendid. That change was amazing. That was Romeo Lavia combining in that deeper area with the attacking midfielders and the wider midfielders and all that good stuff. And Mudryk lays in a beautiful ball. And the striker collects it, composes himself, sees that Edison is rushing out, and just slots it just low enough that the keeper can't get there and puts it in the back of the net. That is something splendid. And that is an absolute drubbing of Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Simply splendid. Smash the like button just for that second half performance that we put in, because that has been something generational. Get off my screen, Pochettino. You're not the manager anymore. Okay, so the full-time stats read as 58% possession was maintained the entire game with 115 passes compared to just 68. At 3.2 expected goals, we scored 4 of them, and they didn't really do much in the second half, still maintaining a 1.2 expected goals rate. 16 tackles to 9, and we did win 9 of those 16 tackles. So yes, those are the Enzo Maresca preseason tactics, the 3-4-3 as well as the 4-2-3-1. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to smash the like button. And of course, until the next one, until the next time, I hope you have a smashing goddamn day. I'm out of here. Peace.